Hey, my two subscribers, Anthony Zuzlo here, broadcasting to you from a state-of-the-art studio and totally not a warehouse in Brooklyn. So for you two subscribers out there that did watch my first video, you'll remember that one of my dreams was to make a Legend of Zelda movie.
I would love it if Disney were to sell me Star Wars. Sell it to me for like $5,000. I would love to make movies based on all of Nintendo's properties, like Earthbound. I'm working on a Fire Emblem script that, again, they'll never take. Let's go! See, I can do the Mario voice, so I'd love to write that movie and pin Mario. And I would love to do a trilogy of Zelda movies. I would love that so much. Those movies would be fucking horrible under normal Hollywood.
Well, since that video, they've actually announced that a Zelda movie is in development, which means yet another one of my dreams has died in a fire. So I guess that means I'll be working at the warehouse in Brooklyn for a few more years. So you might be saying to yourself, wait a second, this isn't your warehouse in Brooklyn. Well, unfortunately, I lost the warehouse recently. I had to leave that job behind because things change. Most of the videos that you're going to see on this channel I actually planned out. I wrote rough drafts of them beforehand, and I was actually going to do this particular video before I ended at that job. But I guess self-fulfilling prophecy, because, I don't know, we're doing this video anyway. But wait, if you planned out all these videos in advance and you planned to do them from a warehouse, isn't it a major kick to the gut to not have that warehouse anymore? You know what? No, it's actually not a kick to the gut. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like really a breath of fresh kicks to the balls. It really sucks dealing with a monkey wrench being thrown in the works like that, but, you know, you gotta keep going anyway. I had always planned on my intro line being broadcasting to you from a state-of-the-art studio and totally not a warehouse in Brooklyn. And I guess I could drop that line because this is only my fourth video, but I think I'm going to keep it. And the reason I'm going to keep it is because I planned on having the line broadcasting from a state-of-the-art studio and totally not a warehouse in Brooklyn. That was sarcastic, obviously. But then I was going to maybe hope that the channel grew, and then I could maybe get my own studio space, and then I would say the line, and it wouldn't be sarcastic anymore. But I think I'm going to keep the line to remind myself that just because there's a setback, you got to keep pushing through. And you can make all these plans, and things are going to happen. And, you know, that's just part of life. In the meantime, this channel is not yet monetized, so YouTube is not paying the bills, and I am going to have to find a job fast, which is not fun. I came across a statistic that once said women were only attracted to about 20% of the guys out there, and I think businesses look at employees the same way. Somebody really needs to sit these businesses down and say, Wendy, honey, you're a high-maintenance redhead with pigtails who smells like hamburgers. That perfect guy who checks all your boxes and will do whatever you want, he ain't coming for you. And if you're watching this video, you're probably looking for work too and pissed off about it. So you probably want somebody to vent with. So I guess here's my rant on the most frustrating things about looking for jobs. Starting off with businesses that are always hiring. These are the cock teases of the job search. Sometimes these companies will just post jobs that they don't even have any intention of creating. What bothers me specifically is the way chain stores do it. I always hated that when I was a kid. If you've ever applied to like a Key Food or a Crunch Gym or I don't know, a Kohl's, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Hey, are you hiring? Oh, we're taking applications. Okay, but are you hiring? We're taking applications. We'll take your application and we'll put it on file for 6 months. Oh goody, that's when I want to get paid minimum wage, 6 months from now. I've got a dog. Instead of buying him food, we'll both dumpster dive behind a Chipotle until then. Then there's dumb application questions. Are you ever sarcastic? No, I was hoping to rot in one of your cubicles for the rest of my life with no sense of humor. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's the one that I probably hate most of all. I had a job interview recently. It's the same work I've been doing. I was totally qualified for it. I even pointed out an error on their website. You would think that you would want to hire somebody like that because I didn't really F anything up in the whole interview. And the only thing that I could think of that I might have gotten wrong is I couldn't answer that question. Because, I don't know, that's so weird. The way I answered it, I said, well, it is New York City. You never know. But I definitely would prefer something stable like your workplace in 5 years, and I hope to grow there. And, maybe I should have left out the detail. I mean, I just have no idea how to answer that. Like, I'm assuming they want me to say working for your company, but, I mean, I really don't know. Yeah, I want to be working for your company in 5 years. I want to move up and take your job away from you. Here's the thing about me. My life has never gone the way I pictured it. Most people's hasn't, so why would you ask that? In fact, by default, most candidates get that question wrong. Because let's say you interview 8 people for a job, they all say they picture themselves working for you in 5 years, but you only hire one of them. That means 7 people that you asked got that question wrong. It's a stupid fucking question. Stop asking it. And cover letters. I hate it when people invoke the year to complain about stuff. But it's 2024. Why are you asking me to write a cover letter? I do not have time for that. Well, if you don't have time for that, you must not be that good of a worker. Yeah, you're really breaking your back reading what I wrote. I'm applying to hundreds of jobs. I don't have time to write a unique cover letter for each one. It's not a possibility. Why would you want to read the same crap you've heard over and over that you're just going to hear me say in the interview anyway? You don't. I have a strong history in sales. I bring a lively energy to the workplace. At most, just ask me to write a paragraph. I can't just apply to your job. I've applied to hundreds, and I've had little success. So, don't ask me to apply on your company site. Why are you asking me to spend 15 minutes creating an account for a website I'll probably never go on again? I could have the Geico Gecko insure my car faster than that. Enter or create a login. How about you enter a login your ass? They want you to create a login that's secure, like somebody's just gonna hack into your account and start applying to jobs for you. Oh no, somebody's trying to put me on track to becoming a corporate accountant. So now on the off chance that you might actually have to go back to this website, you have to keep a whole list of these passwords handy somewhere, just so you can refer back to it, and you're always on the spot to create a new one. It's never easy. Okay, yesterday was the 24th. I didn't do anything all day because I was constipated. So let's do constipated 24. But then like a week later, you forget that you're supposed to capitalize the C, so you can't even get into the account. But here's the shitty thing about it. It sucks so much applying on an external site. That's the only time it seems like I get actual results. I applied to a cable TV company directly on their website, and they actually got back to me. Granted, it was a different date than they told me, and it was between the hours of noon and 6. Honestly, these days you're even lucky if a company even notices you, because most resumes don't even make it in front of human eyeballs. And for that, I blame artificial intelligence. We're increasingly willing to resort to AI for our tasks, and that's not good for anyone. I'm getting more and more passionate about this issue, because honestly, you could possibly be the victim of being gatekept by AI already. I always assumed that the robots would be gatekeeping my future, but I always pictured it would involve more lasers and hiding in underground bunkers. If your paper doesn't have the secret words on it, they're not passing it to their currently human overlords. Sorry. Here's a thought. Don't put the words entry level into a job description if you don't actually mean it. Some people need to enter the workforce with no experience. You companies have to bite the bullet and actually train people to work. And if we go a little further up the chain, it applies too. Okay, maybe I don't have experience supervising a whole team of people, but with a little patience on the part of the company, I can learn. But no, without experience, they look at you like you're underqualified. You know, the reason our education system sucks so bad is because they don't care if you actually learn anything. They're just focused completely on preparing people for the workforce. But nobody's prepared for the workforce. Then, of course, there's being overqualified. Now, I'm a college graduate, which means I paid thousands of dollars for a piece of paper that tells everyone I'm smart. So why can't I get a job at Subway? I mean, yeah, I want some money, but I actually kind of agree not to hire me for certain jobs from a certain standpoint, because it's like, well, if you're a college dropout, where are you supposed to go for work? You know, I mean, if I'm their superior and they hire me, like, what are your options? They need to eat too. I mean, the least I could do if I get that job is hook them up with some chicken McNuggets. As someone with a college degree, I just find myself in some sort of weird middle ground where I don't have the skills for a better paying job, but I'm also kept out of any job that pays a little bit. Also, in the past, I've gone into interviews expecting it to be one-on-one, but then when I get there, it turns out a group hiring session is taking place. And then they get everybody, and they set us all around in this big conference table, like we're about to play a very nervous game of Duck Duck Goose. This is a terrible job. Unless it's a seasonal thing, the reason they need to hire so many people at once is because so many people are leaving that job, because it sucks. So if you don't get that job, no big loss. In general, let's just be honest about what a job actually is, so we're not wasting everybody's time. It gets really annoying when you go in for a job that you think you can handle, and then you get there and they tell you it's a sales job. Not everybody's equipped for a sales job. No wonder you need a good salesman. You couldn't even sell me on this crap opportunity. Commission jobs? Fuck that. On a certain level, it makes sense. The harder you work, the more money you get. Who can't get behind that? Except the reality is, a lot of your hard work really depends on how other people behave. You could be the hardest worker in the world, but some people will still be morons. You ever run into a grown man that believes really stupid things? Like, really stupid things, like, the libraries are for fags. Well, that idiot could be standing between you and putting a roof over your head. How about work from home jobs? I get that they're convenient, but really that's the only benefit to them. The negatives really outweigh the positives there. Working from home, it's bad. You need to be around other human beings. You need to know how to react to other human beings. If you're not around other human beings, you forget how to act. You become an asshole. Why? Because at your job, you have assholes. And they're assholes, and you go, hey, I don't want to be like him. He's an asshole, so I'm going to not act like this. But without being around assholes, you become the asshole. Now, I don't really want to mention this one because I don't want it to be a thing that I'm constantly bringing up, but it is a reality of our modern world that hiring does have a racial component to it. And for me to not bring this up, I feel would be to ignore a frustration that many of you feel. People of color were screwed over for years in the job market. Back in 1978, somebody probably had a stack of resumes, picked one up and said, all right, the next one is from Tyrone, and that goes in the trash. And that's messed up. Not only were they barred from getting the jobs themselves, but they were also prohibited from getting the necessary education and training for those jobs. Now, luckily, those practices do seem like they're on the decline. However, I would be dishonest if I didn't mention that there are those out there who think that there are some people taking it too far in the other direction. New York is one of the more famously liberal cities, and living here in modern times means you're likely to overhear when you're walking in the street or in a cafe the attitude that men are bad or white people are bad or heterosexuals are bad, and people who fall under those categories are the worst of humanity. And when you overhear those things, it's only natural to think, are people excluding me from something over things that I can't control? But if you think about it, people with those prejudices should hire me for those entry-level jobs. It's exactly what they want. Put me in the jumpsuit. You want other groups to become CEOs, managers, project overseers? Well, somebody has to do those lower jobs. I'm not blocking them while they're trying to climb the corporate ladder. I'm on a different ladder, screwing in a light bulb. Getting serious, I don't think I personally have been denied a job because I'm white. I think maybe I could have been denied something for being a man, although that might have to do a little bit with how we segregate jobs by gender in society. You know, women are nurses, men are construction workers, that sort of thing. But the point is that racial tension is high, so you kind of wonder sometimes. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was an issue for women too. Like, it really wouldn't shock me if in this male corporate culture we have men not wanting to hire women just to avoid sexual harassment accusations. Got caught staring at cleavage? Pop out your eyes to avoid a lawsuit. Bottom line is, it's pretty disgusting for anybody of any background to apply for a job and have the person on the other side go, wow, this is a really great candidate, but do we really want to have one of those around the office? I say the solution is to create a world where everybody loves each other and respects each other and wants to build a great world together. And I know a lot of you just went, right now. Another thing that sucks about looking for jobs is the interviewers, specifically the mentality that they have. They have what I refer to, for lack of a better term, is the winner mentality. This is when they want the candidate to basically be perfect, and none of us are perfect. Look at this perfect specimen. He's basically a Ken doll, but he actually has something between his legs. Or at the very least, they just want a candidate to appear perfect. Now, I, on the other hand, am very aware that no human being is perfect, and when somebody tries to appear perfect, I see through it very easily and become immediately mistrustful of them. I know that you're not perfect. I know that when you eat Captain Crunch, you pick out all the pieces that aren't berries and you throw them on the floor for your wife to clean up. For people who are more on my wavelength, who are trying to find a job, trying to navigate those waters of insincerity can be a barrier. Now, I think that I'm the better candidate because rather than trying to appear perfect all the time, I admit flaws and then I could bring them to your attention, and then you're able to fix your business. Makes sense, doesn't it? But, as it stands, we don't have a system in place that hires the best potential workers. We have a system in place that hires the best potential liars. They tell you never to lie in your resume, but the people who lie and do it the most convincingly seem to get the job in the end. This is another reason I hate job searches, since I don't lie, because I'm terrible at it. I feel like I fucked up so many interviews just by telling the truth. Years ago, when I first came to the city, I went in for an interview, and the lady says, it says here you have experience with opera. And I said, yes, I do have experience with that. It looks like it was probably an older version of the program, though, because I found the design to be very outdated. Because seriously, I don't think this hotel had bought new computers since the Apple II had come out. Like, remember the old school internet where, like, everything, all the buttons was a gray brick, and the scrolling bar, that was a gray brick too? That's how this program looks. It looked like it was designed in Windows 95 by someone with a chronic acne problem. But for whatever reason, instead of hearing what I said and thinking, Wow, if he succeeded with a crappy defunct version that impedes your progress with pop-up windows at every turn, he'll soar with a version that's brand new. She seemed to think to herself, oh, so he doesn't actually know how to use the program, or he's just trying to fake that he knows how to use it. Had I left out that honest detail, I probably would have gotten hired for the job. But, like a woman who's asking if she looks fat, jobs don't actually want to hear the truth. They just want the best case scenario to be true. Get this, I've had interviews at hotels since that one, and I keep leaving in that detail because I have an honesty problem. Every time I feel obligated to lie, I start to squirm a little bit. Like, I don't know what it is. Because I agree, it shouldn't be okay to lie on your resume. There's definitely circumstances where if somebody lies on their resume, we all lose. Yeah, I graduated from the flight academy, and I could totally fly this plane. If you lie about certain things, like being able to do fire safety checks, or even being able to do the accounting for an entire mega corporation, well, those lies put other people in danger, not just you, so those definitely aren't okay. But then there's stretching the truth and upplaying your abilities. And as long as nobody's at risk, I don't think that's so bad. Because as we've established, these companies want a perfect candidate, even for jobs where the person can be trained in about 3 weeks. Now, I used to work at the front desk of a hotel. It's a job that anybody could do. As long as you can navigate the waters in a digital age and have the ability to not let somebody with a machete pass the lobby, you can do that job. If you're watching this video, you're very likely to be able to deliver packages, or bag groceries, or shovel snow, or sell your body to science. No background check needed. And if companies aren't willing to hire you, even when you don't have any experience, well, then they're going to have to face the fact that people are going to get desperate and lie. But if you don't like it, you need to do your part to maintain that balance. You need to learn what's an acceptable lie and what isn't. Because the rest of us are bearing the brunt of other shitty workers. Businesses don't want to take a chance on a lesser candidate because they've been burned too many times. The people that they end up hiring told too big of a lie and can't actually do the things that they said they could. Or they end up picking somebody that was charismatic enough for the interview but doesn't actually want to work. So instead what they end up doing is quiet quitting and just stop showing up after a while. Where's Jeremy? Maybe a bear got him. The media likes to scare everyone by saying nobody wants to work anymore. And yeah, a lot of us don't. But a lot of us do. You're either not offering anything that's worth it, or you're just picking the wrong people. If you made it this far into the video and you still don't think looking for a job is frustrating, well, maybe you'll be convinced by some of these personal anecdotes. So years ago, when I first moved to the city, I moved here without a job, and I was desperate to get one before my money ran out. So one of the first places I applied to, it was a hotel just one street over. So there wasn't any job listings for this job. I just went directly on their website, went to where I'm supposed to contact them, and I just started typing an email. And I say, hey, I just moved to the city. I'm looking for work. I have hotel experience. And I live right next to your hotel. So if there's a snowstorm or something, or if somebody just doesn't want to come into work, I can be there right away. I'm also a loser with no social life. I can be there for you. I mean, obviously I didn't actually say that last part. Normally I do exaggerate in these videos for comedic effect, but I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I send that email. Not 10 minutes later, I get an email back, and it says, can you come in for an interview tomorrow at noon? Yeah. So I go in for my interview. They make me wait like half an hour until somebody comes out, and the person that's going to interview me is a different person that was supposed to interview me. And we go through this interview, and it's totally fine. We leave, and I go home, and they totally ghost me, and I never hear from them again. Now, I'm pretty self-aware. There's nothing that I did in this interview that could have been so bad that if you're desperate enough to email somebody 10 minutes after they emailed you, that you instantly would just not have, that you wouldn't hire somebody that's an asset enough, that has experience and is able to be there in like 3 minutes. I could walk to that place in 3 minutes, is how easy it would be for them. So when you deal with something like that, you get into feelings of hopelessness. And it only got worse from there. A couple months go by, still don't have a job, I'm about to run out of money. If I don't get something soon, I'm going to have to give up. I'm going to never live the life that I always wanted to live. Instead, I'm going to have to move across the country, live with my parents. Everybody's dream. Finally, I get a call for an interview. So the guy doesn't have me come to his office. Instead, he picks out a little bistro that we can go grab something to eat at. I think I get like a little egg sandwich while I'm waiting for him. And I'm sitting there, and I'm really hoping that I get this job so I can afford to wear a different pair of socks every day. And, he comes in, he's dressed pretty informally. Like, I'm all dressed up, and he's just, like, casual. And after he sits down for the interview, pretty much the first thing he asks me interview-wise is, so what, you want to be, like, a comedian or something? And I'm just, like, thrown off by that. I'm just like, what? Like, yeah. And it turns out, like, he just, like, did some digging on me. Like, just Googling me, and he saw, like, a clip of me doing stand-up. And he talks to me like that. He conducted pretty much the whole interview like that. He didn't ask me any of those bullshit questions, like, what color is your parachute? He just talked to me like a human being and tried to get to know me. Like, I never anticipated a job interview like that. And if I ever had to interview people for a job, I would probably hope to conduct it somewhat like that. Because the reality is, you're sharing a workspace with these people. You probably want to get along with them instead of reduce them to a piece of paper. He told me that my address was close by, so that hiring me would be a good idea. So, I don't know, maybe my address got me the job. But he offers me $10 to $15 an hour, which is basically nothing, especially in New York City. So I say, well, I know if you're offering 15, like, I know enough that you're supposed to take 15, but, like, I really need something soon, so, like, I can probably do it for less, but I really don't think I can actually afford to pay rent if it's less than 13. So, we end the interview, and then, the rest is history. He hires me. I spent years loving that job. He trusted me to get the job done, and I almost always came through. If I failed him sometimes, I'm sorry, but I think we were a good match, and I always had his back, and he always had mine. And, I can't say definitively if he was the best boss I ever had, but it was great working for him. It was great just having the freedom that I had. And I'm pretty sad that, life is taking me in a different direction. But again, you can't always control what happens to you. So yeah, I'm gonna miss this part of my life. even if it's not this glamorous dream that I'm hoping to move on to with you in my audience. So now is the part where I try to impart some wisdom and guidance onto you. So if you're looking for a job, I would say it's important to set aside time to look for a job. If you're unemployed, if you were working and you're now unemployed, your routine is already broken, so it's probably a bit easier to just make yourself a new routine where you carve out at least a couple of hours to look on these job sites. You know, I know it's tempting to want to like maybe chill out and read a book or something or play a game or just try to get your mind off being unemployed, but you kind of have to balance that out with actually just going to a wide area. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but just go to different sources. Don't just look in the same place. And you have to set aside time to make the effort. I would say if you live in a densely populated city and you're in dire circumstances enough, you walk along the streets if you have to. Look, see if there's any hiring signs in the windows. And if you're in a city, this doesn't really help you as much because the offices are too crowded. But if you live in the suburbs, I would say your town probably has a Department of Labor that you can go to, and the people there can help you out. So they're a good resource to use. Also, after you're done watching my YouTube videos, of course, YouTube is a great resource for a lot of things. If you want to learn something, you can just type it in. Probably, if you want to say be more handy, there's probably lots of tutorials that can teach you how to fix a door or something like that. Fix, I don't know, an air conditioner. Or say, if you want to learn accounting, maybe you can just look up QuickBooks. The only crappy thing about that is like you might not have the tools necessary to fix a door, like to tinker with it, or you might not have the program QuickBooks to be able to just kind of fiddle around with it. Yeah, it sucks, but I don't know, maybe you can watch the video and take notes, and then you might have the opportunity later, and you have the notes at your disposal, and you can just maybe practice. Who knows? I don't know. You know your situation better than I do. Most importantly, I would say just don't give up. I know it's easy to want to give up because things get like they're all coming at you and you feel the pressure and you don't know what to do, but just try to maybe do something to keep those feelings at bay and just realize that it is possible for you to not meet your goal, but it's also possible for you to meet your goal. So at least go down swinging. That's it for this video. I'm glad I was able to make this video a bit funnier than the past ones, although I'm not as comfortable in front of the camera yet as I would like to be. Although I feel like maybe in this one, losing the warehouse is kind of what's throwing me off a little bit. I don't like having to do this in my crappy apartment. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you soon. And remember, building a better world is better than doom. Goodbye.